Yo, what up? It's Carter from the Peekaboo Boxing Academy, and in today's video what I wanted to talk with you about is how belief dictates boxing ability, and how you could almost consider this the hidden or missing component for many boxers. And this is at any level, whether you're intermediate, you're just a beginner, you're completely fresh, whether you're advanced and you have a lot of fights and you want to take yourself to the next level. What many don't realize is that belief is 80% of boxing. The techniques are only 20%. You can get perfect at the techniques, but if you don't have the belief to execute them and make them work, you're not going to be good at them. If you don't have belief in yourself, you're not going to actually be able to get creative when you're in the ring. You're not going to be able to have fun in the ring. And boxing is going to be very hard and difficult for you, and you're going to burn yourself out, okay? You know, in other martial arts like Kyokushin, karate, for example, they have a philosophy that's intertwined with the techniques, right? And in many boxing styles, this is void, this is absent. But in Customato's boxing style, which I am privileged to be able to teach because I have mentored people in this boxing style, there actually is a philosophy behind it. There actually is belief behind it. And this is why so many people that try to replicate this style just don't get it, okay? Because Customato instilled all of his fighters with belief, because he was a master of the mind, the psychology of boxing, the psychology of war, okay? And if this is something that you don't have, good luck trying to execute the Cuss style at the best of its ability, okay? So in today's video, we're gonna go over all of the nuances. I'm gonna explain to you how to uncover your beliefs, how to replace your beliefs, so that you can execute these techniques with confidence, with conviction, and get fantastic results, all right? All of that and more in today's video, so lock in, and as always, let's crack into it.
Professional fighter is gonna learn how to hit and not get hit, at the same time be excited. That's what professional boxing is. You gotta be clever, you gotta be smart, and not get hit. And when you're able to do this, you're a fight.
All right, so the reason that I wanted to talk about belief with you today is because I have noticed a pattern over the years as somebody that has spent my entire life studying and practicing the Customato style of boxing, and then actually getting mentored in how to teach it by fighters who were taught by Cuss himself, who grew up with Mike, all right? And that pattern is that almost everybody that wants to do the Peekaboo boxing style, as it's called online, or the Cuss style, as we call it at the gym, almost all of them have the same confidence issues. Almost all of them have a confidence issue. They see somebody like Mike Tyson, who's virtually invincible, who's using this, you know, lost, forbidden boxing style, and then they want to be like that. And that's why they're so attracted to that style. They read about Customato instilling Mike with all of these, you know, beliefs. They read about this community that Mike Tyson had around him, living in a Victorian mansion, training with other fighters day in and day out. And they're like, hey, I wish that I had that. They want to uncover the lost style. They want to be the most exciting, exhilarating fighter in the world. But, you know, again, it stems from that lack of confidence. It stems from wanting to be invincible. You know, and I've noticed, this is because I'm a trainer. You know, I train people like this, and I was somebody like this because when I was in high school, I was the same exact way. I would read Mike Tyson's autobiographies. I would watch every single one of his fights day in and day out. And every single time, I found the same exact thing, right? Every single time I found myself feeling the same exact way, which was that I wanted a sense of security. I wanted a sense of confidence in what I was practicing. And I wanted that energy that was given to Mike in his early childhood that made him one of the greatest fighters to ever live, okay? And now that I'm older, a little bit wiser, now that I'm a little bit more experienced, now that I'm a trainer, and that I've actually gone on an odyssey of the mind myself, what I've uncovered is that that belief you can give yourself if you have the permission to do so. You have the inner faculties to make yourself as confident or as unconfident as you want. And this video is about no longer being a victim to your unwitting beliefs, your unwitting limiting beliefs. It's about actually taking control and deciding who you want to be, okay? And you don't need a Customato to do that. You don't need me to do it for you. You can do it yourself, okay? And I want to talk to you about how to actually do that, all right? So here on my phone, I typed up some notes. I'm going to bring you through a process that actually works. We're going to uncover your beliefs. I'm going to show you how to actually re-engineer your beliefs and how to step into a new identity, okay? So The components of Mike's style, right, they will set you up for success, but again, as I've already alluded to, it's your beliefs about who you are, what you deserve, and what you are capable of that's going to determine whether or not you succeed in boxing, okay? And, you know, just to begin to look at some of your beliefs, what are some beliefs that maybe you harbor, right? And these are questions that I'm going to ask you. Does getting good at boxing have to be easy, or is it hard, okay? What's your belief about the process? Is this going to be really hard, or is this going to be fun? Is it going to be easy? Yes, there will be adversity, but does it need to be this battle against yourself, or can it be a smooth process, right? Is losing the end of the world, right? Do you attach losing to your self-worth, your self-confidence, or is it not a big deal? Is loss a form of self-correction, you know, a form of guidance, a stepping stone to your future success? How do you view loss? Are you the type of fighter that's assertive when you fight and you come forward, right? Are you the type of person that backs up? Do you fight to win, or do you fight to not lose? Do you deserve to win or not? These are just some basic questions that you can begin to ask yourself, and it's going to be really telling, okay? And what you really believe is what matters, not what you tell yourself, okay? So, of course, do I deserve to win? Well, yeah, of course, Carter, I deserve to win. But you don't actually believe that, and that's the problem, okay? If you actually believe that, you wouldn't be watching this video. You'd be knocking everybody out, or you'd be successful, or you'd be on that path of success, okay? So again, you have to be very honest when you're asking yourselves these questions, okay? And the answers to these questions, again, are going to provide you with more value, and they're going to be more telling than learning some boxing technique. Everybody's always about, oh, let me learn the next technique that's going to make me superhuman. Let me learn the hidden, lost, custom auto style technique that's going to make me superhuman, right? But what's more effective, now, of course, you need to be fundamentally sound if you want to execute the cuss style in the way it's meant to be executed. You have to actually learn the right way. That's what this channel's for. But that being said, again, your belief is going to dictate so much more in terms of your results compared to some technique, okay? It's the belief that matters, all right? So, and a good example of this is why Muhammad Ali was able to break every rule in boxing and still be so successful, right? A lot of people in the cuss style, they're like, you know, they're in this rigid mindset. This is how fighting works. This is how it works. And we're going off of cuss's rules, you know, protect yourself at all times. Come forward and be elusive, right? Be aggressive. These are just guidelines that will help you become more successful, but they're not rigid rules. And somebody like Muhammad Ali, who many consider to be the greatest boxer ever, he broke every single rule, but he was still so damn successful. And the reason was, you know, he's the total opposite of the way that Mike fought. His hands are down here, right? Protect yourself at all times. You're not protected when your hands are down here, when you're dancing around, when you're, you know, throwing your punches from here instead of from here, right? But again, it's his belief that carried him so far. He had true self-belief. And Customato always used to tell Mike Tyson about this. He would tell Mike about it's the fact that Muhammad Ali truly believes everything that he says. And that's why he's so good. He's so damn stubborn, right? And that's why he was able to get so good. You know, so really the way that you want to see boxing styles is that there's just different, you know, systems out there that, you know, some of them give you a higher probability of being protected. Some give you less of a probability of being, you know, of being protected, right? But at the end of the day, it's not the techniques that are the end-all be-all. It's not the rules that are the end-all be-all. There are no rules. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. There's just different systems, and if you are subscribing to the Customato system, that's just a system. But again, it's the belief that drives it. Okay, so practice the techniques, practice the good form, practice the repetition, do the things that I tell you to do here on the channel, yes, but just don't forget that the driving force behind the style is the energy that you give it. It's not the style itself that produces the results, it's the energy and conviction that you give it, okay? The style is just the car that you drive in. But you are the one that has to press on the gas, all right? You're the one that has to press on the gas, okay? So getting under the hood, you know, if you couldn't tell already, getting under the hood and actually changing your beliefs is what's going to allow these techniques to work. So what I want to go over are the 5 levels of creating change within yourself, okay? And each level gets deeper and deeper and deeper to the root of where all of your results and your feelings about yourself come from, okay? So this is, these are the levels starting at level 1. And again, the deeper that I go, the more powerful these levels of change are. So level 1 is your behaviors and your actions. Level 2, deeper than that, are your emotions and feelings. They create your behaviors and actions. Level 3 are your beliefs and thoughts. They create your emotions and feelings. Level 4 are your reality models, your way of seeing reality, or you could call these your core beliefs, which many of your beliefs are based off of. Okay? And the deepest level, level 5, is that of identity, the way that you identify yourself, okay? And this matters more than anything because the way that you see yourself dictates the results that you get. Your subconscious mind is always going to act in accordance to the way that you see yourself. So if you see yourself as somebody that's not assertive, if you see yourself as somebody that does not deserve to win, subconsciously, you're always going to find ways to stay in alignment with that identity. You're never going to shift into the identity of a winner, okay? Now, if you remember earlier on the channel, one of the first videos that I ever did was how to actually create change through behaviors and actions, okay? Because each of these levels, they have a retroactive effect, right? If you change your behaviors and actions enough, eventually you are going to shift your identity. And I talk about this in one of the earliest videos that I have here on the channel, okay? But today we're going to talk about how to change your identity through beliefs, okay? And this is very, very powerful, okay? But that's really what you want to understand, is that there are levels to go, to approach this from, and we're approaching it from the level of belief today. I'm going to give you the blueprint of how to approach, identity level change from the level of belief today. Okay, so, from this model, you can obviously see that your behavior and actions are driven by your emotions. Okay, and many people know that, but what most of the world does not know is that your emotions, right, which create the behavior and actions, are driven by your beliefs about yourself and who you are, okay? Now, beliefs, emotions, actions, they form a triad. They form a triangle because they all influence one another, right? For example, you believe something and that creates a feeling, okay? You feel something and that creates an action. You act on something, you perform that action, then you have an experience that confirms your belief, right? So these actually, again, they all affect one another, okay? So now, getting to the juicier part, what is belief? If we had to define belief, what is belief? A belief is simply a thought that you think about often, okay? And when you think about it often, you accumulate similar thoughts that are on that same, wavelength, right? So you think a self-defeating thought, and that attracts other self-defeating thoughts, and you think these on repeat, and eventually they grow big enough to form a belief, okay? Now, a subconscious belief is what happens when these thoughts begin to run on autopilot out of your conscious awareness, okay? So now they're just running as programs in the background, all right? Deeper than that, a core belief, right? A core belief is a fundamental definition, a presupposition of what reality is, how things work, and it's something that you term as knowledge or truth, okay? It's something that you're so convinced of that you never even question it. And a core belief is something that dozens and dozens of your beliefs are based upon, okay? So really, you could say it's the core beliefs that you want to get to. You want to find out what your core beliefs are, because this is where you're going to create the deepest change. You can either affect each individual belief, or you can locate the core beliefs, you can change those, and that's going to have an effect on dozens and dozens of, the beliefs that you have about yourself, okay? So, releasing beliefs, which is what we're going to talk about today, is about recognizing what you thought of as a fact, right? It's about recognizing what you thought of as fact and realizing that it was merely a belief that you projected onto reality. It's not a fact, it's just a belief, okay? And then shifting that belief that you now recognize and is now in your conscious awareness, shifting that belief to one that is preferred, okay? That's what this process that we're going to go through is all about. It's about realizing that these things that are running on autopilot, you just accepted them at some point, but that does not mean that they're fact. That doesn't mean that that's reality, okay? And the way that you want to see beliefs is you want to view them as basically like glasses, right? Most people, they don't look at their beliefs, right? They never examine their beliefs. They look as them. Beliefs are like glasses. You're looking as the beliefs. You don't even realize that they're beliefs oftentimes. You don't actually get them in front of you and examine them, and that's why they're so powerful, okay? And because of this, no two people will experience something the same way, right? Somebody has a bad experience in sparring, or they have a fight that they lose, and it's the end of the world. Another person, right, they have a bad experience, with sparring, or they lose a fight, and they're like, yeah, this is paving the way for my future success. This is valuable course correction that is needed for me to get to where I want to be, right? So it's all important, but it's your belief about the experience that's going to actually dictate whether or not it works for you, okay? So again, your beliefs color that event, and they change the emotions that you feel around it as a result. So, for example, if you lose a fight, or if you do poorly in sparring, does that affect your confidence? Does that affect your self-worth? Or do you view it as valuable, like we just went over, right? When you get hit with a hard punch, do you get your ego involved? Do you charge back and try to hit him? Do you lose control because your ego got involved, right? Nobody can punch me like that. I have to hit him back. Or are you totally objective when you get hit with that shot? And do you remain calm and focused, right? Do you see how these little beliefs like this are going to affect your ability as a fighter, right? So beliefs like these should be evaluated because they have a huge effect on whether or not you're going to make it as a boxer, okay? Whether you get emotionally burnt out or even worse, hurt, okay? So you have to examine these. Now, the beliefs that should be released, right, which is why you're watching this video, the beliefs that should be released become obvious. They should be obvious to you because they manifest as recurring patterns in your experiences in life and in boxing. But this is a video about boxing, obviously, so we're going to apply it in terms of boxing, right? So the beliefs that you need to be worried about are the ones that are continually manifesting, okay? They're reflected in daily life and experiences in boxing. So if you consistently cannot let your hands go, if you consistently beat yourself up and get emotionally burnt out when you don't do well, right? That's pointing you towards a belief. That's actually helpful, right? When you feel those bad emotions, it's telling you something's off here. There's a belief here that's messing me up, okay? So those are the beliefs that you need to release, the ones that are reoccurring patterns, all right? Now, this is extremely important to understand when it comes to releasing beliefs. Every belief has its benefit, and every belief has its payoff. Every belief serves you in a certain way, and that's why you held on to it. So finding out how a belief that maybe you've labeled as negative, right? Maybe you recognize, oh, Carter, I recognize this pattern, right? It's this negative belief. Well, guess what? Finding out how that belief that you label as negative, actually how it serves you, figuring that out is a huge step to releasing it. Because you wouldn't have taken on that belief in the first place if it wasn't serving you in some way. Part of your mind thought that it was good to hold on to that belief, okay? So you need to identify that as well. That can be helpful, all right? So, uncovering the beliefs, creating this unwanted experience that you're having, whatever it may be in boxing, all right? How do we do it? So, first, again, you recognize the unwanted experience that keeps happening, which is telling you that there's beliefs there. And then you're going to ask yourselves these questions to uncover the beliefs and core beliefs, okay? So here they are. Question 1, what would somebody who is experiencing this have to believe? Question 2, what would somebody who is doing this have to believe? Question 3, what would somebody who is feeling this have to believe? Question 4, what are the thoughts that I have about this issue? Question 5, what am I trying to be right about? What am I making others wrong about? Okay? So you want to list these out. These are the beliefs. You're going to list them out on a piece of paper. okay? And actually write them down and put them on paper, because thoughts, they're vague, they're ever-changing, and they're just floating around in your head. So what you want to do is you actually want to get these beliefs on paper and realize that, hey, I am not these beliefs. These are just simply beliefs. Write them down and actually look at them for the first time. Okay, so write them down. All right. Now, you can deepen your exploration of these beliefs and even start to unravel and neutralize them by further questioning them. Okay, and this is the way that you're going to question these, and you can write these down as a part of the list as well, okay? The list of beliefs that we're uncovering. First question, how can I prove this statement to be true? Okay, so ask that about some of the beliefs that you've already written down. And these are going to lead you to core beliefs that you have about yourself, usually, okay? The next way that you can question the beliefs you've already written down is, what is the payoff for believing this? Another way, some other ways of putting it, what are the benefits that I get for believing this? How is this belief serving me? What can I be right about if I continue to believe this? Okay, so these are all things that you want to list out on a piece of paper. Now, when you look at this whole list, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find that some of these statements, some of these beliefs that you've written down evoke emotional reactions within you. Okay, you're literally going to be able to feel that some of them carry more weight than others. All right, and when you feel these emotional reactions, and sometimes this can happen by actually rephrasing them. So look at them for 30 seconds, maybe rephrase these beliefs a couple ways and see if it evokes emotional reactions from within yourself. Okay, now the beliefs in that list that evoke emotional reactions from you, they are more in the direction of core beliefs than the other statements, the other beliefs on the paper. They're the ones that actually matter the most, okay? So these beliefs in particular, the ones that are getting the emotional reactions from you, the ones that are the deeper ones, right? The ones that are having more of an effect on you emotionally, these are the beliefs that you need to acknowledge, okay? And you need to acknowledge their usefulness. How have they served you? Because this is why you keep holding on to them, right? You need to understand how they've served you. You need to acknowledge their usefulness, and then it's time to replace the beliefs, okay? You may also ask yourself, which of the beliefs, of the ones that you wrote down, were freely chosen by yourself and which were indoctrinated into you. Okay, so this is a little even more advanced, but again, we want to separate these beliefs as from ourselves. We don't want to look as them, we want to look at them. That's what this exercise is all about. Okay, so draw a little branch next to each belief now on your list and write down, did I choose it or was I indoctrinated into this by an outside source? Now, if you want to go even more advanced, draw a branch off of that and write down next to each belief the degree of conviction that you believe in that, belief on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? And this is going to help you desensitize yourself from these beliefs even further, okay? Now, finally, right, and this is the next part of the process, after you have examined and acknowledged each belief, noticing the interconnections, the contradictions, and the relations of these thoughts, it's time to replace them on a separate piece of paper, okay? So, on a separate piece of paper, write down the beliefs that stood out the most, the core beliefs, the ones that evoked an emotional reaction from you, all right? And for each one, write down what you would like to think or believe about yourself instead, okay? This is the process that is going to make the new belief stick, okay? You can't focus 24/7 on the things that you don't want, because you're just going to keep attracting more of that into your life, okay? If you have a belief that's hurting you in boxing, focusing on it every single day, telling yourself that you want to avoid it, it's just going to create more of that problem for you, trust me. I know from experience and I know from training fighters. You want to focus on what you want instead, okay? So you're going to write down what you want instead for each of these beliefs, all right? This is what's going to make these new beliefs stick, the ones that you want, all right? Now, this is key. In these new beliefs, right? Which you want to replace the old ones. You want them to be realistic. You want them to be authentic and easy to believe. Okay, so don't make some big leap. Don't make it, I don't feel confident to, in myself to, I am the most confident fighter in the world. No. Baby step the process in a way that's realistic so that you can actually buy into the belief. Okay, and then when you buy into that belief, you can increase it. Then you can increase it more, okay? But you have to gradually get to where you want to be. Okay, so if it's, I lack self-belief or I'm not assertive in boxing, right? You can change that belief to one that is more believable, which, instead of, I'm a god in boxing, I'm the greatest fighter to ever live, it can be, I am assertive in boxing. I deserve to win in boxing. I am no different than anybody else, and for that reason, I deserve to win just as much as them, right? Just make it something believable, make it something simple. And again, you have to do this process yourself, okay? Now, once you have this list, this is what I want you to do. Focus on embodying the viewpoint of the version of you who's experiencing that new belief, okay? Going forward, you're going to focus on embodying the feeling of somebody who actually has that belief, that version of you who believes that new belief. You're going to focus on embodying that feeling and acting as if you were that version of you who holds that belief in daily life. Now, additionally, what I want you to do is to read out these new beliefs or thoughts that you have on this paper once in the morning and once before bed, okay? And when you read them aloud, I want you to feel what it feels like as if you were actually experiencing that reality, that version of you who really believed that, okay? Focus on the feeling, okay? And doing this daily is going to shift you into the role of the architect of your own reality, okay? Doing this daily is going to shift you into that role to where you're in control rather than being the victim who is at the effect of the unwitting beliefs that you have bought into up until this point. So imagine how much your life would actually change if you did this, okay? If you did this for the next 3 months, how much would change? Now imagine if you didn't do this for the next 3 months, how much you're going to continue to suffer from these unwitting beliefs that you've created, all right? And really understanding how your beliefs are affecting you and understanding how much of an impact they have on you in boxing is going to be key to your success as a fighter, okay? And that's what this channel is all about, is giving you those keys to where you can actually be successful, taking back control, all right? So with that being said, I want you to go and actually do this. I want you to go and actually change your beliefs and begin to embody the version of you that actually believes these new things. And I want you to watch and document the shift that you experience, okay? It's going to make it's going to be a complete game changer in terms of your boxing ability and just in terms of life if you want to apply it in any other way as well, okay? So with that being said, we're going to finish off the video today. As always, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.